doing all right. Hi, Prathanam.
Hello, sir.
So we have Paguthraprakash joined, just waiting for Dhivya to join, so she'll also join shortly.
Hi, Prakash.
Hi, good evening, sir.
Yeah, so Prakash, probably you can switch on the camera so
Yes,
that we can talk to each other. Good to see you.
thank you, sir.
Dhivya, good evening, Dhivya.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Hi, Divya. Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
So you can see us,
Yes,
Prakash and myself.
yes, I can see.
Yeah, so if you can also switch on the camera, then it will be a
Yeah.
good conversation for us. Yes, Shilaka, you tell us when we are going live. We are ready.
Sir, I think you can start, sir. We're already 5-2. You can start, sir.
So we can get started.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Tech Talk Show. And sorry we couldn't meet you in the last episode. There was some issue with coordination. But this time we are back. We are back with the show. And as usual, we have two of our young leaders from the SE group, part of B Next, to share their experience with us. And like you all know, what we're going to explore in the next 1 hour is to see what the impact technology has in our lives and how specifically the influence is visible in our current work and what is going to be the future of our work. So these are some of the points we'll ask our guest today. And you will also have a session where I will share some of the interesting apps and a little bit about a personality who's influencing all of us in terms of the technology field. So that's the format today. Just in case you've forgotten, I just wanted to remind you that. So welcome back to the show for all the listeners who've listened to us in the past and also the people who are joining for the first time. Welcome to Tech Talk. This show is about technology and this group. So today we have Paguthraprakash from Palayam and Dhivya from Virupuram. So I'm going to request both of them to introduce themselves to the audience. Some of you would already know them, certainly the people who work with you. But it is also important that everyone understands who have come to the show today. Prakash, can you just say a few words about yourself, what you have done, what are you doing with Center, and a background about yourself?
Sure, sir. Good evening, everyone. My name is Paguthraprakash. I am from Palayam Center. Currently, I am working in feasibility survey process for last 3 years. And I am basically from a farmer family, which is with my native is at Palayam only, which is near to our center. Which very helpful for my economic because it's very near. I am coming it's like 2 to 3 kilometers from them, so it will be helpful for me. And yes, I am working in a feasibility survey process. It's basically I'm providing internet to the customers. So based on the customers' requirement, we are taking the surveys whether we can provide the internet to the customers or not. This is our basic work. So today we are going to talk about that. That's all.
No, wonderful, Prakash. Just want to know, have you worked before joining this group?
So no, sir. This is my first.
This is your first job.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and what is the academic background? Where did you go for your college?
So my academic background is I'm a BEC graduate, sir.
BEC from which college?
So it's a Sri Shakti Engineering College. It's in Mettupalayam, sir.
Mettupalayam.
Yes, sir.
So you used to go from home or you stayed in the hostel?
I stayed in hostel, sir.
In Mettupalayam?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. So welcome to the show. And
thank you, sir.
I'm sure you will enjoy the conversation we're going to have on this, through which you will pass on the information you have experienced on the technology field. Right?
Sure, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, and Divya?
Yes, sir. I'm Dhivya from Virupuram Center. I'm working here around 4 years. and handling the data view project. Now I'm the team leader of that process. Also, uh, my nativity is Vilpram.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about your college and why did you join the SICRU or how did you join the SICRU?
Yeah, my friend has referred me to join here. So.
Okay.
But like, after completing my college, I have worked in another office like basic group.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yes. In that company, I have worked for 1 year. I think.
Okay. So which college? You said college is in Virupuram or where is it?
Yes, near to my home, sir. Near to my home itself, I have joined the college.
Okay.
Yes,
And you were born and brought up in Virupuram, you said.
yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So that's nice. Nice to hear. And so are you part of the first batch in Virupuram?
No, no, like that.
Okay. So good. So welcome to our show, Divya. And I hope you and Prakash will be able to share your experiences. And also at the end, we would have a few minutes for the audience to interact with us in case anyone wants to send a query. We'd be more than happy to answer. So uh, to our listeners, again, whoever is listening, you can send your queries through the chat box if you have during the program. So we'll take it up at the end of the show. Or if you would like to reach out to one of us and ask you a question, that is also option is welcome. You can talk to the DC Live team. They'll pass on the queries to you. So that's the introduction part. So now let's get into the next part of the discussion where we would like to examine what technology means for Divya and DataWeave and for Prakash and feasibility survey project, right? So let me go to Divya first. Divya, can you expand a little bit about what we do in your process?
Yeah. We are matching the product. It's the basic thing. Why we are matching it means we have if we buy some product from the online, everybody will purchase in online mostly.
Correct.
Yeah. Uh, Particularly in the lockdown period, everybody has purchased in online only. So on that time, it will be the bulk than before.
Okay.
Okay. Our work is uh, comparing the product from particular some they have given particular website. We have to compare it with other four or five competitors like that, or 10 or 15 like that. We have to compare it. In that comparison, we will get some ideas, because while we purchasing a product first time, we will check with the every website. In that, we will get to know which is the cheap and best. Every customers will go with that only.
Okay. Okay. So what you're saying is essentially we will compare the features of a particular product. It could
Yes,
be price, it could be any one of the other features of the product.
yes,
We
yes,
will
yes,
compare the with the competitors. We'll collect all the relevant information and give it to the client.
yes,
Is that right?
yes, yes, sir.
Okay. So fair enough. Now, what is the role of technology in this? What do you understand from this? So this can be done manually, right? I can go and search, go to the website, get the information, put it in Excel, and give it to the client.
Yes, yes.
So where is technology in this, or what do you think is going to happen to this process little later?
Uh, while we are visiting the client in our center, they have told like that, because of your work, you are changing the entire price of the product. It's
Okay.
it's proud to you. Like that, they have said to us.
No, no, correct. See, what the client is saying is that the importance of data,
Data.
right? So the process, what we are doing is data aggregation, data cleansing, data validation, all of that. But the key element, what we are trying to understand is that what does the client do with this information? So for all the listeners who are familiar with the AI and ML world, we all know that data is the core of the new technologies. So it is no longer about the software or the power of software or algorithms or computing. So some of you who had worked with, let's say, Oracle, SAP, these ERP softwares, they are popular because, or even our internet banking. All of us are using internet banking, and some of us, or many of us, are using our UPI payment uh, models, Paytm, and so on and so forth. So these are very powerful applications, right? But you also know today the effectiveness of any app is not only the coding logic, it is also about the quality of data which goes in making this program successful. So what Divya explained is what we do for DataWeave, where we are collecting price and other sensitive information about the product compared to the competition in the market and feed it to an engine. So, Divya, what your client does is take this data, but they just don't pass it like a post box. Whatever Divya gives, okay, this is Enfield bullet versus some bullet, and then these are the five table, and then give it an Excel sheet. It doesn't work that way, right? What they do at the back end, or if you look at their customers, what do they promise to the customers? If some of you are following this trend, you will see price analytics. That's one word you would have heard many of the clients use. And the correct terminology behind the usage is what is called recommendation engine. So this algorithm, or you can imagine the black box, right? This black box takes all the data from Divya and her team, accumulates the data, process the data, learns from the data, look at the patterns, and then produces a recommendation for that particular client. Just imagine if you are a shoemaker from Italy, right? I'm sure some of you would be familiar with brands like Lotto and all the things from Italy. So if you are a shoemaker from Italy, you can contact DataWeave. DataWeave will promise a price analytics engine for you. So what that means is that algorithm will develop its capabilities to predict or analyze the price points from the data which our team has fed on multiple stores. So what is a product, similar product listed in, let's say, Amazon versus Flipkart versus any other engine. So if it is let's say, football shoe, then it can also classify football versus other sports, jogging shoes. So there are multiple categories you have. But end of the day, what happens is this engine, you can imagine, it consumes the data. By consuming, I mean it is learning from the data, and eventually it develops a capability to predict accurately what the customer is looking for. So this is the technology behind what we are doing for DataWeave. So we'll come back and revisit this question again with Divya in terms of where is the future in this, what is our role. So let's go back to Prakash now. So Prakash, can you tell us about your process? What happens in your process? Where is technology or
Yes, sir. Our process is basically for checking to provide the internet to the customers. Here, the customers are like our organizations, like IT providers, like banking sectors. All are currently all are working based on internet. Internet is very much in all over the areas. So here we are checking whether we can provide the required amount of bandwidth to the customers via wireless internet. It's basically on, we are checking on wireless. We have multiple types. Here we are working on wireless. So which is very cost less cost and very effective compared to fiber links, other mobile network like that.
Okay.
it's basically we are doing that. Uh, so
what,
here we
what
yes,
data
sir.
do we process? What data do we process in this for this customer?
So for this customer, first we are collecting the customer's requirement, which is the band, and they're giving the volume of bandwidth they require. So from that, we are collecting multiple data, how much amount of data they require. So where they require, because we need to know the location where they need. So from that only we can check whether we can provide the internet to that location or not.
Okay.
Basically, we need the location.
Hmm.
So basically, they give the location by address, our normal address. From on that address, we are converting that address into an latitude and longitude, which is Google coordinate.
Very good.
So for that, we are using Google Maps and Google Earth Pro, which is a common app we can use anywhere. So by using the given address, yes sir.
Once again, Prakash, can you, for the benefit of our listeners, can you
Yes,
tell
sir.
us what is this Google Earth Pro? I mean, I'm sure all of us would have heard this name, and the app was launched a few years ago. But what is this Google Earth Pro? What does it do? How do you use in our process?
Yes, sir. So Google Earth Pro is a basic use for maps. Here we have all the, if we take Google Earth Pro, here it have all the data about yep, all the registered data of the areas. Like if we take, if you want to search a Desigro location in the Google, same we can search it in the Google Earth Pro.
How is it
So
different
if we
from
answer,
Google Map? Google Map also I'm searching. Suppose I have to go to a particular place. I
yes
go
sir.
to Google Maps and put the name and search. How is that different from Google Earth Pro?
Yes, sir. In a Google Map, we can if we search the address, it will show the location. So we can identify the location in Google Map. In advance, in the Google Earth Pro, it has the historical image. That means past images of the satellite photos.
Okay, okay,
So
okay.
we
That's
can
that.
use that. Yes.
Okay,
So we can use that to check the previous landscape of that area, current landscape that area. So we can identify that landscape by using the Google Earth Pro, sir.
okay. So, what is the use of that information? Suppose you found out that the place where we have our center in TN Palayam, so you
Yes.
located in Google Earth Pro. So, how is that information useful for your client?
So once we identified our location or any location, then we feed that lat long into that Google Earth Pro. Then
Okay.
what we have to do is we have to search our service providers tower. Basically, in technical we call that is a base station. From the base station only, we will provide the bandwidth. In terms we can send RF signal. So we will provide the internet through that base station. So once we put that lat long in the Google Earth Pro, so we will search in that area whether we have service providers base station is available on that location or not.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. I'll just intervene a bit, Prakash. There
Yes,
is a
sir.
request saying that please show the Google Earth Pro on the screen. But Ashwin, please remember this is a live radio show. We want to listen to our explanation, not see anything. People who are willing to look at the visual inspection, go to Google and say Google Earth Pro, you will get the screen, right? We're not going to use the screen for explaining this to people, and that is the idea, right? We need to be able to articulate to people who are listening. So I'll just try to rephrase what I heard from Prakash. Prakash, correct me if I'm wrong. So what Prakash is saying that for the process, they need to find out where a particular location it is feasible to provide internet bandwidth or not. When they say feasibility, it means whether the existing network of our client has covered that geography or not. It's like our cell phone tower, right? You know that cell phone tower signal is not coming into my home. All these are usual complaints we have. It is a very similar process, except that it's a little bit more scientific. So you heard him use the app of Google Earth Pro. This is the first time I'm hearing that something like this can be actually used for work. So it feeds the data about a particular geography, and lat long is the term which is used. So all of you are familiar with latitude and longitude, which we learned long time in our geography books. So the moment you locate the particular location, it tells you about the terrain, it tells you what has changed. More importantly, it also tells you the coverage of the nearest base station. Correct, Prakash?
Yes, sir. And
Okay.
it also sets the landscape of that area.
Okay. So what landscape? Example, can you give me example?
Yes, sir. Uh, if we take our nation from Jammu and to Kanyakumari, we have different type of landscape.
Correct.
Go to I think Meghalaya or Sikkim, we have hilly terrains. There are the buildings and mm, human living areas are inside the terrain area. So if we go to other like in Gujarat or it's West Bengal like that, there are like most of dry lands. It's on farm fields. So in some area it will be a flat land. So if we go to Kerala, we have a lot of water bodies with a so much amount of trees in flat lands. So we all know about our geographic of our nation like that, sir.
Brilliant. I think this is really good. Even if we don't do the process, I think we should learn the tool to know about our own country in terms of different terrain. Very beautiful, Prakash. Okay. This is a small quiz question for you. Now that you've looked at so much of the data, so can you tell me something about Hyderabad? From whatever you've searched so far, what
Yes,
kind
sir.
of terrain is in Hyderabad? Have you come across that area?
If, uh, if we take a Hyderabad, we can split it in two, sir. If we can split it into a metro and we can split it into a Hyderabad rural also. If you go to the metro, so it will be a flat landscape, but with that we have a high-rise buildings. There we have a lot of buildings there. If we come out of the metro, there we have flat lands and also with like a coconut, lot of coconut is available in that area like that, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Every city we can take it as a metro and uh, in metro and out metro, sir. It will be different in metro and outside of the metro.
Got it. So, if I can understand, so from a client perspective, we are giving this data,
Yes, sir.
analyzing the location's feasibility, and we are telling the client saying that, hey, this Hyderabad location is feasible because the coverage is good and you can erect a tower and provide whatever bandwidth. Is that how we are doing it?
So we are not only going to check if the bandwidth available or that location is feasible, other than we have to check the technical parts. So if we check a base station, we have to check we are using the antennas for transmitting the signals. So we need to check the availability of those sectors.
How
Because
do
if
you,
sector is not available on the direction of that customer, we
okay.
can provide our internet, even if the base station is available on that location.
So how would we check that?
So for that, client provide us the data of the base station in a KML format. So we are using the format inside that Google Earth Pro. So it has the base station layout in the Google Earth Pro. So it also shows us the coverage plot of that sectors and its directions also. So while checking in the Google Earth Pro, we are plotting that, we are drawing the line like that, sir, from the base station to the customer location. So from that, we are calling it as an angle from the direction. So from the direction, whether we having that antenna on that customer direction or not. If the that sector is available on the customer direction, after that also we have to check whether the antenna can provide the internet to the customer, because every antenna has its own capacity, but customers request will be very depends upon their requirement. So whether the sector can provide the required amount of data to the customer. So we have to check, we have to use multiple tools for that, sir.
Very good, Prakash. I think now slightly it's becoming like a physics class. I've now heard antenna, I've heard angle, I heard terrain. I think this is very interesting. I never knew that we had to do so much of work related to technology in our daily job. But one quick question, I will go to Divya and come back. How will
Okay.
we do this process tomorrow if Google Earth Pro is not there or is shut down?
No,
Think
sir.
about it.
Sir.
Just think about it. You just hold on. Think about it. You tell me how will we do the process if tomorrow Google Earth Pro is not available at all? Okay, Divya, are you there?
Yes, sir.
So you heard Prakash explain how they are intelligently using what is already available, the app Google Earth Pro. So is there any technology or customer application which we are doing using in DataView project?
Yes, sir. We are also using their tools, sir.
Okay. Can
Yeah.
you describe what that does and what do you see in the screen and what happens on the tool?
Yes. In the tool, we will get a accounts from the client side. What it will be some 20 types of visible or 10 like that.
Divya, your voice is breaking a little bit. If it helps, you can switch off the video. Can you just
Yes.
explain the tool again so that listeners can hear clearly?
Sure, sure, sir. Okay. Yes, now you can hear me, sir?
Yeah, much better.
Yes. Um, in the tool, we will get multiple products, like pen with small to bigger products. How I will say, like pen, rubbers, or furnitures, or rings, a mobile cover, scratch
Okay.
cards, everything, a
Okay.
laptop,
Hmm.
TV. Every product we will get into in that tool link. They'll give a particular one particular product. We need this product, what as it is with the multiple competitors. Now asking some Apple iPhone like that. With the same model, with the same features, we need this product from multiple websites.
Hmm.
We need to compare it from every website. If seed is Amazon, seed
Got
is
it.
the yeah, seed is the common product for us. We need to refer that image and that features, specifications, everything. In that reference, we need to search from every website and should match with the same product.
Got it. No, இது திவ்யா நீங்க இது முதல்ல சொன்னீங்க. See how what we do in the process is take a product, look at the key features, price or any other technical feature, compare it with all the competitors or similar products available in the world, Amazon, Flipkart, and so on and so forth. Is it clear? It's very common. I'm asking, after all this data is available, is there any tool which you are using to process this data, or how are we giving this data to the client? Are we sending it an Excel sheet, or how are we giving this data?
No, we don't have any Excel sheets, sir.
Okay.
Uh, with the what tool link they have given? No, with that tool link itself, we will submit that to the
Okay. So
client.
you
Yes,
will submit it in the tool link. So which means
yes,
you'll click on a link and then the screen will appear and you will update the data.
yes,
Is that right?
yes, sir. And
Okay.
also
Hmm.
we need to we have some Google forms like that. Once we have completed that overall every product it was done, we will
Hmm.
update it in the Google form. This account has been completed. Particularly, we have different types of accounts.
Okay. Got it. So my question is to you: after we update this data in the tool,
Yes.
what happens at the client end? That is the interesting part, because right now what you've said is how we do things, but the technology is taking over the back end. Moment you punch in all the data, what happens after that?
After that, they will verify every website, sir.
No, no, we will verify the see what I'm saying. You gave an example iPhone, right? So you gave the iPhone as the input. So I looked at multiple websites, filled in all the data, clicked on the link and updated the information. Now this
Okay.
information is reached the client database.
Yes.
What happens after that?
After reaching the database client, they will validate that every product
Hmm.
and fix some price or some
Hmm.
offers to that product. If we keep that offer, the customers will reach faster than the other website to
So
that particular.
who will do the fixing of the price and all of that?
Uh, every website, sir. If sometimes Amazon will be a seed, sometimes Flipkart will be a seed, or Snapdeal will be a seed. We will match that. After that, they will decide that prices and everything,
No,
offers and all.
understood. See, again, for listeners, you're describing what Divya is explaining, that it is a pricing intelligence, or what they call as e-commerce competition intelligence. We are collecting data about the competitors and feeding into an engine. Now, what happens after that is you cannot do this for thousands and millions of product manually. So there is an automatic engine which is at the back end. Like I said before, it is learning from the data what we are feeding. It is going to understand the pattern. It is going to look at the competitors' information and then automatically adjusts your price so that you remain on the top of the search, or you want to give discount to your premium customers and so on and so forth, right? Why is this important? Where is technology in this? Because this is going to be real time. So we all know e-commerce, we buy products, right? So naturally, this product pricing, this pricing is one example we are discussing today, but could be any of the features in the market. Suppose we stick to the pricing model. Your price needs to be responsive to the changes in the marketplace and with your competition. Suppose the big competitor is giving you a discount, right? You will obviously see that all of your customers moving towards them. You've seen this. Amazon does freedom sale, or Flipkart comes up with some whatever New Year sale and all of that. So they give discounts to the multiple products. So when that happens, the analytics engine using the AML is able to predict the changes which are happening in the marketplace and feed that information to the customer back. And many times it automatically adjusts the price, but sometimes the client want to intervene, or they put a cap saying that, tell me if the price is falling below 20%, then I will take a decision whether to discount my price or not. Within 20%, don't have to ask me. So every time the market goes up or down, the price of your product gets automatically adjusted. So this is how the marketplace works. Many of this we may not be able to see as a consumer or as a user, because you are always looking at a particular product which you like and compare the prices and so on. So the science behind this is called recommendation engine, price analytics, or anything which is related to the commercial data. The technology uses AML, which is the artificial intelligence, which is learning every time a data is fed into the engine. What is Desi Crew's role today? Is to feed this data. And I think we had a T-shirt, or we had an event in Vipuram, where we have said that our job is to teach machines. So that's exactly what Divya and team are doing. And this is just the first step in the AML journey. Okay. So thanks, Divya. I'll come back to you. And let's go back to ask Prakash the question about what will happen to our feasibility survey if there is no Google Earth Pro. Prakash,
Yes, sir.
what do we do?
So, yeah. Nowadays, people, sir, work with comfortable. They feel comfortable on something. So if it goes, if it went out, they will not, definitely they're not going to stop. They will try to find out which is more comfortable than that. So if the Google Earth Pro came went out, currently the client is working on that. That's the same thing, sir, with us, sir. So here we are collecting the data on the landscape, on that terrains, all the things for our feasibility. So we are providing those details to the clients. From that end, they are developing the own map for feasibility, sir. So they are creating own maps. So once if any situation Google Earth Pro went out, and they can also use that. So we are feeding the data, we are giving the outputs, what kind of issues we are facing in the Google Earth Pro also we are providing, sir.
Okay, so what you're saying is that the client will survey based on the data we've already submitted to them, And
Yes.
if Google Earth Pro is shut down tomorrow, they can still search based on the data. They have already collected different terrain across the country and all of that, right?
Yes, sir.
No, that is one part. Because client will survey, we'll also survey based on the data we already have, right? I am asking, is there any alternate tool? Is there a competition to Google Earth? Is there any other application which gives the same data?
So as of now, there is no such thing like Google Earth Pro. I have searched multiple apps like that, sir. I think in 2020 we have faced it for I think for 1 week we have some issues for Google Earth Pro where the images are not viewed clearly. We have faced it to check the feasibility for nearly 1 week that issue. So we have tried to take multiple applications, multiple maps, so that we some area we can get clear map view, but we are unable to track the terrain. Here we telling we're taking one thing as earth elevations. So here I say, previously I told that we are drawing the line from the base station to customer end. So for that, while drawing, and that's not only to indicate the directions, it's also indicate the elevation of that path.
Okay, got it. So
So
you are
for that
saying
we
there are other products which are similar to Google Earth Pro, maybe not as popular, who can also give information about terrain, who can also provide data about the location and all of that.
yes, sir, they can provide the location, but we need to check that paths. Yeah, we can collect the data for the customer and we can take the data of the base station end. But
Okay.
we need to check the in between the path also, sir.
Okay,
So for that we need, yes, sir.
there is a question from the audience again. The question is that, okay, if Google Earth Pro is not there, can I use Map My India or MapQuest and those kind of details?
Yes, sir, we can use that only for searching the locations. So
Correct.
we can't check the elevation on that app, sir. Because we have already tried that. We can identify the location on that map. We can use that for checking the elevations.
Got it, got it, got it. So that's the answer to those who are listening, that while there is an impression which all of us have that there is a dominant technology, most probably it is the Google and the Amazons and all of these guys, they give an impression that they have providing the only solution available for a particular problem. But in reality, there are multiple people working all the time to provide tools. It could be small or big, it could be popular or not popular, but at any point in time, there is a multiple scenario. Yeah, there is a suggestion saying that ISRO has got its own navigation satellite and the mapping product that I'm aware. In fact, there is a remote sensing institute of India, which also does a lot of work on the mapping. So there will be always options available on the technology. Okay, so thanks for this, Prakash. We'll come back to you and Divya in about 15-20 minutes from now, because we'll just move into the next section. And that is a thread which Prakash had started. So I'll start with that story. So I'm sure all of us are aware about the war which is happening in Russia and Ukraine, right? I'm not sure how many of us followed this news when Russia blocked the internet access and all the telecommunication linked to Ukraine and the war areas. Do anyone recollect what Ukraine did? They still got internet. Any clue or anybody who remembered how they got internet? What happened? What did the president do? Balloons. Balloons is certainly one way, but that's more like a method. But if you've followed the news, he dialed one particular person. The president of Ukraine dialed a person. Yeah, that's right. It's Elon Musk. Just imagine the power of technology today, that two nations are at war. One country's president blocks the other country from all the possible communication network. Yet the other country is able to dial an individual, private sector, and get an access. So how did this happen? It happened because Elon Musk has been building a network of satellites through his company for a while now. So he, along with many of his teammates, has been venturing into multiple areas in technology. So he is the person today we're going to talk about in terms of the pioneers who are in technology. So the president of Ukraine dialed Elon Musk and say, boss, can you provide satellite through your satellite network, internet through us? So that's what exactly he did. And Russia or anybody else could not block it because they had the superior technology. They have covered their own satellite network in the space. And when he launched it, a lot of people said, no, you're blocking the Earth's view and all of that. But he went ahead being an entrepreneur and a pioneer. He did his own network, and that really helped people. So not only about the satellite, I think Elon Musk is a very, very interesting story. Some of you would have already followed him because he did a unthinkable week back. He bought out Twitter. I think some of you have shared my post on the things which I got from the LinkedIn also on this topic. So he's now planning to buy Coca-Cola next because he wants to change the composition of Coca-Cola. And there are a lot of conversations that are happening in the internet today. People are saying, buy this company, buy that company, change it, and elevating to a level of God who can buy and change things. But that's the current part. But what I wanted to share with you guys is, if you look at Elon Musk as an individual, he's just about what, close to 50 years right now. But when he started, even about 10, 12 age, he started doing programming. So he's not a tech person by qualification. Of course, he did some courses, dropped out of Stanford, all that usual entrepreneurial thing he did. But he didn't turn out to be an engineer himself through formal education. But whatever he did, he learned on his own free time, on his own free will. And in that case, the start is very similar with the story we are familiar with, Bill Gates. So both of them started coding and programming in their early teens. So Musk did the same thing. And he sold his software, whatever he built in that age, made some small pocket money. So that habit of learning technology on his own has actually taken him to really diverse areas, which is very difficult for a single individual to wade through in our lifetimes. And I'm sure all of us would have heard historical figures like Da Vinci or Michelangelo. Uh, these great people were able to do science one day, literature next day, sculpture the third day, art fourth day. They were interacting with the religious heads. They were interacting with kings. So you can imagine Elon Musk is some kind of a modern version of these legends. He's already a legend. So he did the programming. Then he went and did solar. Then he went to the famous Tesla cars. He went to SpaceX. That's the one which started doing the satellite. He's even started a company called Boring Company. So when I first read through this, I was wondering, how can anybody name a company Boring, right? But this boring is not what we associate the boredom with. It is really literally boring. Boring means the physics term is doing a hole, tunneling, right? That boring. So you still have a 2-inch bore and all of that in the tools. So this company does tunneling. So his width of areas is unbelievable, and whatever he has done, it is always path breaking. He never does things which is incremental. He goes almost always against common views, public opinion. This Twitter bought out followed a similar practice. So he was not happy with the way Twitter is functioning. And again, that's another area of technology which all of us are now facing. How do we regulate content in a medium like Twitter? Because in a conventional medium, there is an author or there is a publisher who controls the content. But in today's internet, all of you know, each one of us is an author, each one of us is also a consumer. So how are we going to control the medium, or how are we going to moderate? So there are very popular bots for this. Bots are also become controversial because people can misuse. You would have heard trolls. So all of this was happening, and Musk has said, I don't want bots to do any validation. He wants to authenticate everybody in Twitter using human intervention. So nobody knows even today how is he going to do it, but he's done a deal with $44 billion. He's bought the Twitter. He wants to take it private, modify the core, and then probably you will see the changes in the coming days. But the interesting thing from a technology point of view, this is an important lesson for all of us. When he's early 20s, he did internships. So in our place, when we say interns, we put them into the process. I'm sure Divya will put an intern into data and saying, go and study all the marketplace and come back and feed this work. So internship, the way he did it is not like that. He actually did an internship in solar science. He learned a little bit about the energy sector. So later in his life, when we founded a solar company, he built multiple factories to produce the components for the solar industry. He called them gigafactories. And his ambition was such that he was always looking at the largest, biggest, and tallest, whatever all the bigger superlatives they have. And when he set up factories, he always dreamt very big. So even in US, even where people don't associate manufacturing anymore, he set up factories very close to the capital city and so on and so forth for solar energy, right? Then he did the Tesla, which is not a conventional car. They were betting on electric cars, then the automated cars, now combining solar plus automation. So you can imagine the kind of technology influencing our daily life. He's been at the forefront of many of these technologies and at scale. So you'll be surprised, this Tesla car company, who's probably producing what, all electric cars and automated cars together, probably not cross maybe whatever, I don't know the number, maybe 10,000 to 50,000 numbers in the world. But this company is valued much, much higher compared to our conventional car makers like Toyota and Ford, and even the luxury segments like Rolls-Royce and Benz and all these companies. His company is valued way ahead by the investors, primarily because of the technology choices he makes and the view he takes on some of these technologies to make it scalable and in large scale. So you would have also seen that there are a lot of social media conversations happening to invite him to India. It's a little funny to observe that most of the states' finance ministers or commerce ministers, even including the commerce minister of India, using Twitter, requesting Musk to come and invest in India, because he, as an individual, responds to Twitter pretty well. In fact, famously, he did one survey. You won't believe. He asked the public whether he should pay more taxes. He told about his own company, saying that my company is valued more. My share price is too high. This is not the right price. So can I sell some of my stocks, make that money and pay more taxes? And some 3.5 million people said yes. So he did that. He reduced his stake, he sold off the shares, he paid tax. So he does a lot of this so-called crazy things. Some people say it's for publicity and so on and so forth. But I think the underlying thing is he's an immigrant. He was born in South Africa. His parents were from Canada and South Africa. He went to Canada for studying, and he went and stayed in some place which is not even popular today. But the moment he started to understand the power of technology, applied himself, learned, most of it is self-learned, and he was able to compete with the highest level of proficient people in that segment. In fact, when he acquired Tesla, he became chairman, but he also became its chief engineer. So not unlike Bill Gates himself, who called himself as chief architect after he became chairman, CEO, and all of that. So this is an interesting personality who is dabbling with technology right in front of us. what most of us would have heard his name through the recent media. But if you observe his other technology pursuits, and like I said, he's just 50. So all he has done, all he has achieved, is probably in the last 20 to 30 years. Every sector which he has entered, he has beaten the best, and he's taken it to the scale which is unimaginable. The example what I gave in the beginning, that country's president is able to dial him and he's able to help the country to get internet. So that's the pioneer story today. And then we'll move on to the app part of it. Today I'm not going to talk about an app, but I'm going to talk about something which is very interesting, which is a habit which is now becoming like a wildfire for many people. I'm sure some of you are already addicted to it. So I'm going to talk about Wordle. How many of you have heard of this term? Wordle. Wordle, anyone? Anybody in the chat? What is Wordle?
No, sir.
Okay, so you can now go to Google and type Wordle and check out. Some of you can show it on the screen also, so that for the benefit of people who are watching, we can see what it is. I can also describe what it is. Have you guys seen Wordle? Can someone describe what do you see on the screen?
Is this so?
Yes, just click on the Wordle. Okay, as you can see, these are blocks. You can see, okay, you can now see. Now close this, Shileka, just open that screen, what is behind it. So this is a simple word game which all of us have played. You would have heard maybe Hangman in the past, or some of you would have scribbled in your class notes. So these 5 boxes what you see on the top, this represent 5 letters. So today the challenge is to find the word which is 5 letters. So you have 6 attempts to make. It's fairly simple. It's like a Sudoku which is getting popular among the world. This is also now becoming extremely popular. Very simple. What you need to do is to guess the word. And let's guess today. Let's say 5-letter word. Can somebody say any 5-letter word? Let's say towel. Can you type towel?
Yes, sir.
TOWEL. You can just there's a keyboard down. You can just press that. Yeah, TOEL. When you say enter, it's going to give you the answer, but in a slightly different way. Okay. Now it shows you 4 letters became gray and 1 yellow. So what this means is the 4 letters in gray are not there in this word. So the word which they have today, there is no T, there is no O, there is no W, there is no E. But L exists, but L is not in the correct position. So we have put in towel L as the last letter. But what it tells you is that is not the position. But L is there in the word. So that's a clue, right? So let's take let's try laugh, LAUGH. So I'm switching the next option. Switch the L letter. I'm giving another 5-letter now. Enter. Wow. So you got 2 letters right. So this is L is there, A is there, and this is the right position. So which means the word is starting with LA. Now it also tells you UGH are not there. They turn gray, right? Okay, can you now try different models with LA and then give me 3-letter combination? Anyone can try on your own, or let's try LAM.
Later, sir.
Later. No, T, E are already not there. If you see on
sorry.
the
Yeah.
row, T and E are not there.
Okay.
So the first 2 letters are LA. Anything else you want to try? Anybody? Sorry, somebody said something.
Kindly.
Yeah.
So anybody can type in the chat box also.
You can type in the chat box. You can try yourself, because this is a common thing. Anybody can see this now. So let me.
Later, sir. LATE or later.
Yeah, somebody said that, but T and E are already not there. If you see the first row, they're already not there. So later won't work on this. LAMPN.
Then we can say lamps, sir. LAMPS.
Okay, try it out. There's no harm. LAMPS, lamps. Sorry, MPS is not there. Okay, but this is the clue, right? So just imagine T is not there, E is not there, S is not there. So many things already not there. So U is not there, O is not there. So you can now shorten your search, right? Even no, the first two letters are L and A. That is right. That's fixed. You can't change it now, right? Relax, leave. No, you have to have same some meaningful word. Okay, can you try? Oh no, that is also not there. Can you try latch? LATCH.
T is not there, sir.
T is
I
not
know.
there.
I'm trying to see the C is there or not. Just try
Okay.
latch.
Yeah.
No, H.
H.
Sorry. Okay, we have only two choices left. We have to be really quick and nice. So we've tried towel, laugh, lamps, latch, launch. If wonderful. No, but CH is not there.
Yeah.
U is not there, and it's not 5-letter, Rani. See, this is tricky, right? Good attempt. I'm really happy to see that thing, but certainly this is not the right thing. So let's see. LARN.
So it's lias, LIASE, lias.
No, LA. The first two letters are LA.
Okay, LA.
Land.
AY.
It's a pretty tough one today, I guess. There is I there, so we can see label. Label E and L are already not there, but there's no harm trying because anyway we're running out of time. So let's try label. Sorry. So that's the last attempt right now for the team, all of us together. Can we say land B? No.
Labs or labor?
Labor B is also not there. O is not there.
Labs, sir.
Sorry.
Is it lax?
Large or lava?
Large. What about large? No.
Large.
G is not there.
T is not there.
No. Okay. Anyone can
Lava,
try.
lava,
Sorry.
lava, lava.
Four letter, no? It should come as a
LARVA.
Larva. LARVA. Okay. Try. There's no harm. Anyway, we don't have.
I think yes, sir.
No. A. Okay. Let's hope. Beautiful. Oh, congrats. Who's that? Who suggested this?
Sabita, sir.
Sorry?
Sabita, sir.
Yes, congrats, Pita. Okay, now all of you know how to play this game?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
the
sir.
beauty of this game
Thank
is
you.
you can play only once in a day and then it goes away, right? It appears again next day only. So you can't keep practicing and things like that. But many times people are now coming up with a race, how many attempts, first attempt, second attempt, and all of that. It becomes really addictive. I just wanted to introduce you guys to this, and you can do it any time of your day in your phone, everywhere, right? Now, there's another interesting fallout to this. What about if I don't know English? I'm not comfortable with English. Have you come across anything in Tamil like this? I think you guys are not using the internet the right way. Can you go to the Google, Shilaka, and say Solli Adi?
Sure, sir.
There's the same concept in Tamil, very beautifully done. Very simple rule, same rule. You have 5-letter, you have Tamil keyboard, you can try this, and it's very addictive. It's called Solli Adi. The name of the game is Solli Adi, and it's by Vikatan. So you can try Vikatan Solli Adi or Solli Adi. You will get the same thing on the screen in Tamil. So Srileka, sorry, we have exceeded our time. You guys
No
want to
problem,
continue
no
for 5
problem.
minutes?
No problem.
Okay, then open Solli Adi. Let's see if you can crack that faster than English. You can say Vikatan Solli Adi. No, hold on. Vikatan Solli Adi, it can get you the first thing only. Just say Vikatan.
First one, sir.
No, you can do that. Yeah, try that also. Try that also.
Yeah.
No, it's not an app. You can see that on the. Can you try Vikatan?
If you type like Vikatan Solli ID, I think you will get it.
Oh, it's there. Can you see that bottom row there? In the screen, same screen. Okay, now try. Get ready, guys. We should crack it in much better than close this. Rules are the same. I already explained. Okay, try now. So it's a little bit of a tricky thing. What you see on the top is the. I know how many remember your literature, your grammar lessons. It's called
That first
Matule.
you should tell me which E I should type, which in I should type. So that's a bit
No. I'll just. I'm explaining the format because Tamil the words are different, right? Letters are different.
Yes, sir.
So it says the first one is A, which means any letter which is like Sa, Ka, Ta is the sounding name just
Okay.
given there. So next one is E, third one is A, then the fourth one is a Meyarith, Im, it, ich like that, and last one is again sounding like a E. For example, you say Adi. If you say Adi itself, A will be the A, T will be the E. So in the keyboard, you select a particular letter, it will automatically convert and show you. Okay, let's try the first word randomly. Can anyone just suggest a 5-letter word with this name? Try anything so that at least we get to know the familiarity of the keyboard.
Saidigal it will come, sir.
Sorry?
Saidigal.
Say, but you will not get that in this format because the first word is A, right?
Okay.
You try, you click on the Sha letter.
Saidigal, sir.
No, that's what he said. See, when you just click on the itch in the keyboard,
Yeah. It's like ah.
so now it will take it as a side. It won't show say because today's word is starting with A, right? So you type Saidigal. Let's say just type E next. No, not this E. You don't know how to spell Saidigal?
No, sir. I'm not.
Oh God, you are also a Tamil challenged person. Okay.
So this E, sir.
It's going to be difficult for you if you don't know the
Yeah.
letters. But okay, let's try any 5-letter word which is sounding similar to this. Can anyone come up with? Okay, so this I've already cracked today. So I'll tell you the answer. You can type it and then see the thing. Can you just delete the first one, sir? Can you spot if ver is in, where is the ver here? Yeah, that is the first one. Next, re, vari,
Yes, sir.
ka. Now, can anybody guess?
Varigal.
No, I've already given 3 letters. There are 2 letters left.
Valikati.
Varigati. Yeah, it. It again. Now press enter. That's it. So this is first attempt, and many times you can get it first attempt. It's not very difficult. You just need to think through, and you will get it. Again, it's brilliantly done. Very similar to Wordle, but it also helps you to refresh your own language. You can be familiar with this, and it's pretty enjoyable. So that's the story on the app. So it's not really, but now I'm sharing in that Google when you search, that probably they are available as app itself. So I didn't know that. I thought it was always only on the web, and it's only again once a day. So it is not something which you have to spend a lot of time. But when you start your day or when you're feeling bored, you can engage with yourself with a little bit of funny and interesting activity, and you will feel a lot of happiness when you crack the letter. And many people have done it over. They have monthly scores, weekly scores, competition. I've tried 3 successful days. First attempt, I've cracked the word. So you feel really happy when you do that. So I hope some of you who are listening will take it up, both the Wordle and Soliadi. So let's go back to our show and wind up for the day. Thanks for listening. Can we go back to our guest today, Prakash and Divya? Yes, Prakash.
Yes, sir.
Okay, one question to you. Now we're back to our topic for the day, technology. So we talked about Google Earth and all the other options. In any other way, do you see this process getting changed or future technology influencing your process? Like, can you automate your process? You're searching for Google Earth, finding the location details, and putting it in the client, right?
Yes, sir.
Can the entire process be automated?
Yes, sir. It will become automatic, but it will take time around 10 years like that, because we are going to take, yeah, because they are doing more than 20 years like that, sir. We are discussed with the client regarding that like that, because we are trying to just nowadays they're going to automate like a small amount of thing, like we are get a request from the customer, but they already have some customers, lakhs of customers. They have their data, so they are trying to get automate those data for additional informations. But for the new data, they need to get the whole geographic details of India.
Okay. No, but Prakash, the advantage of technology or automation is the time which you take to do this, right? You're searching for the information and feeding the latitude, longitude. All of that can be done in multiple uh, times or the speed by the automation. In fact, even uh, Divya's process, where you are searching for information from the web in multiple sources and putting it manually. Now, that is what most of the automation is all about. So, whatever we do, and if you have to do 100 times, 1,000 times, million times, one is the speed, the other is the error rate. So, if I were to do the same thing 1,000 times, I will make error. Whereas machine will not make an error. Machine will not get tired. Machine will not have a Sunday holiday. Machine will not have coffee break. Right? These are advantages. But what are the challenges? Machine will not understand. So your
Yes,
team will understand. First day they will struggle. Second day they will improve. Third day they'll crack the process. Machine cannot repeat that. That's what the whole AIML world is all about. That is why your data labeling work is all about. All the work which we do with new clients is to teach the machines. Okay. So I'm glad for your views, Prakash, that yes, automation is there in this process, but it's going to take a long time to completely automate. But some part of the processes can be automated, right?
yes, sir.
Okay. Divya, what are your views on this? How is technology going to change your process?
Yes, sir. In our process also, I think after 10 years, they will be change the manual thing. I
Okay,
think
so
so.
now I understand that Prakash and Divya want to be in the same process for the next 10 years. So no automation is allowed. We will do the way we are doing currently, and 10 years it will take for automation. Certainly not, Divya. The time frame is much, much faster, and we need to be smarter than the changes around us, right? Naturally, the human element is something which nobody can replace, irrespective of number of bots and scientific movies which you are watching. The humans are here to stay. The robots are being made by humans, and people like us, we have our own individuality. We will do continue to work with the machines, and while they are improving, we will always be 3 steps ahead. In fact, one of the ways in which we should be ahead is to play games like Wordle and Solidity, so that your brain works faster and better every day compared to the previous day. So it is a sort of a warning signal for us to not to be complacent, Not to certainly say that 10 years it will take to change and all of that. Change is going to be much faster. It is already hitting us in many areas. We are using technology, like I said, UPI payments today. India is the largest country using the payment transaction in the world, beating US, beating China. So it is on us. It's up to us to cope up with the technology. And that brings us to the end of the show. I think we already exceeded this time. Thank you very much for all the listeners and the encouraging participant today. I would like to hear from you. You guys can write to me or give a feedback to the DC Live team, whether you enjoyed the show, what else you'd like to see on the show. And I especially thank Prakash and Divya for taking their time in such a short notice. They came to the show, explained very lucidly what they do, except for their views on technology. I agree with everything they said. Technology is already onto our daily life. We need to become smarter and faster in our approach. And thank you very much. We'll meet in the next Tech Talk show. And somebody gave a good feedback in this call. Thanks, Karthik. And we'll meet you soon in the next show. Thanks, Divya and Prakash again.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Back to Shileka.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So thank you, Divya. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
So it's time for DC Live to take over the next show. Jim, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, Sanjay, you can just play a song and continue the show after.